And I think, at this age, it's a 50-50 fight for Manny Pacquiao.
Boxing legends react to Pacquiao versus Barrios' comeback fight Manny Pacquiao.
6-year-old.
You know what, man? It's all up here and it's here. It's what you got. It's what you use.
I like Pacquiao trying to hit a lick, you know what I mean? But Pacquiao not Pacquiao no more. It's tough to go against him in this situation because if it was some years ago, Pacquiao would beat Barrios.
Now, at 46 years old, is preparing to step back into the ring, and the boxing world is buzzing. Terrence Crawford calls it a great matchup for Pacquiao, but admits that at this age, it's a 50-50 fight. While he respects Pacquiao's legacy, he questions what's left in the tank after years of inactivity. I don't plan on fighting at 46.
Have you got any thoughts on that fight with Mario Barrios, and is there any chance we see you still in there at 46?
Nah, at 46, I don't plan on being back in the ring, but Mario Barrios is a great matchup for Manny Pacquiao. And I think, at this age, it's a 50-50 fight for Manny Pacquiao.
Crawford said. But if Manny wants to do it, Barrios is a solid test. Sugar Ray Leonard offers something deeper. He says it's not age, but mindset that defines an athlete. His support for Pacquiao goes beyond the ring. It's about heart, courage, and proving something to yourself. Follow your heart, Manny. If you believe that's all that matters, Bob Arum, Pacquiao's former promoter, is worried. He respects Manny's desire to return, but says bluntly, George Foreman famously won a heavyweight title at 45. Bernard Hopkins did the same in his 40s. So yes, at some point out history shows
Pacquiao at 46, about to make his way back into the ring. I saw him training this morning, but a lot of people are worried about him. He's been inactive. Bob Arum, his longtime, guy, even said, I don't want to see him get hurt. Rooting for him, but I don't want to see him get hurt. What do you think as a guy, who's probably thought about getting back in the ring a few times? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think?
Well, actually, I can't comment too harshly on that because I made more comebacks than everybody. I hold a record, undisputed.
Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, do what you want to do, man.
Do you think the idea of like inactivity when you have somebody who lives his life to do it is a big deal?
It is a big deal, man. I mean, there's no one thing that will really make people understand why we do what we do. But you know what? God bless. Stay healthy and take care.
Hey, last thing, like he's fighting a 30-year-old. What do you think? What would that be like, running with a motor like that? Later in your years, like against a 30-year-old motor, against your body's just different. I'm 41, so like I know my body's different than it was when.
You're a baby.
But what do you think about that? Like the motor difference between a 30-year-old and a 46-year-old.
You know what, man? It's all up here and it's here. It's what you got. It's what you use. Again, there's no way to answer this, but stay healthy.
History shows it's possible. But the odds? Steep. Barrios isn't the most dangerous of the welterweight champs, but he's young, active, and strong. If Manny's sharp, it's winnable, but no guarantee. Barrios didn't shine last time out, Sanchez added. It leaves some question marks. But don't forget, if Manny wins, it opens a door for even bigger fights. AT-46. Rest is Manny's friend. You still have power, but the speed, that's what fades. I hope he takes it slow. Pacquiao shouldn't be fighting anymore. It's going to be hard to watch. I'm just a few years older than him, and I know what age does to the body. He might have a puncher's chance, but that's it. Teddy Atlas brings a technical eye, noting that Barrios isn't a natural welterweight. That might help Pacquiao. He's not facing a huge guy like Spence or Thurman. Still, youth, volume, and activity are tough to overcome at this.
He's one of your favorites all time. He's coming back now. He was off for 4 years. I've been watching him train every day. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat. He's sharp as could be.
And I wish him well. Big George, God rest his soul, was 45 when he won the heavyweight title. Bernard was, 43, 44, 45 when he won his third world title. So, listen, miracles can happen. He's focused, he looks fit, and I wish him well. I love him.
the best. Mutual.
Picture?
Yep.
Okay, hold on.
Come at this stage. Sounds like Pacquiao's trying to hit a lick. Years ago, he beat Barrios easy. But now, Barrios might just jab him to a decision win. It's more a good fight for Barrios than it is for Pacquiao. Pacquiao got knocked out twice early in his career and still came back to do what he did. He's built different. If anyone can do it, it's him.
To tell them to hang him up. He's older. He's been out of the ring. He's fighting I'm not gonna say a young champion, but he's fighting a very decent champion. Probably the lesser of the three of the welterweight champions. But he is getting up in age. Will he be able to recapture some of that speed and snap to his punches? Who knows? But George Foreman did it at a much, much later age. So Manny has a chance. I think that he has a chance against a good champion.
Do you feel like with Mario Barrios in particular, then it's a champion they've targeted because in his last performance he didn't really, set the world alight. It was a draw, and he's left a few question marks around himself.
Not only that, the other thing is Norman is is a very good fighter, and so is Boots. I mean, you're talking about two very, very good fighters that are, I think, on a different level than Barrios is.
Do you feel like that this could be the risk where, let's say, if Manny was to have success, was to become champion again, then he then looks at it and thinks, "Oh, can I go on a run? Can I get one of these other names?"
That is a big risk, but I don't think that would be the fight that. Well, those two wouldn't be the fights that they would be looking for. I'm sure that if Manny is fortunate enough to be in great shape, and listen, Freddie's a master. Freddie will figure out a way to win a fight that's winnable, and maybe then guide him towards other.
If anyone can do it, it's him. This isn't just about legacy. Pacquiao's return could be epic. He's serious. He looks sharp. And if he wins, it's not just historic. It's inspirational. Point one thing is clear. Win or lose, Manny Pacquiao is stepping back into the ring not just to fight, but to remind the world of who he is.
You're 46 years old. You have to remember that. So give your body some rest. Rest right now is Manny Pacquiao's friend in between training, in between sparring sessions. There's no shame in taking a day off or two, Manny. Trust me. Let your body relax, let your body rest. He'll do fine. He's experienced. He's got obviously the power because it never leaves you. The speed I'm a little worried about, but I think, look, Barrios is a live dog. He's a world champion, and he's no slouch. So I think it's going to be a good fight. I wish Manny all the best. I'm not sure who's going to win. I really haven't seen Barrios, but I think Barrios, the youth is obviously with him in this corner.
Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios. Boxing legends react at 46 years old. Manny Pacquiao is making a comeback. Yes, that Manny Pacquiao, the 8th Division world champion, a living legend who many believed had hung up the gloves for good. Now, he's stepping back into the ring against Mario Barrios, a strong, much younger, and currently active fighter. Terrence Crawford, one of today's top pound-for-pound fighters, is intrigued and cautious. Barrios is a great matchup. But let's be real, Manny's 46.
Retirement. Well, Pacquiao's a big name, and obviously Barrios a great fight for Barrios because he's a champion, and I think Pacquiao, being that they both have connections with PBC, that's the easiest fight to make. So, getting another title opportunity, I just the name obviously, but I really believe that Pacquiao shouldn't be fighting. I think it's actually going to be a little. I don't want to say sad because he's going to make a lot of money, so we can't feel sorry for him. But at 46, almost 47, it's almost impossible for I'm just 4 years older, 4 years older than him, and it's not easy to try to think you're going to get in shape and be able to perform like the way you were when you were in your 20s and 30s.
You think it's impossible for him to beat Mario Barrios right now?
Well, it's not impossible because he has power. That he should have that power. Barrios is big and a strong boy, so I don't see that happening. But is it possible? Anything's possible. George Foreman did it. There's been others that do it. But I really don't see it happening.
But Pacquiao's speed's the name of his game. Do you think He doesn't have that. There's no way he doesn't have the same speed as before.
There's no way, bro. You guys, I don't know if you guys seen his last performance.
The exhibition where against that big guy.
It was actually embarrassing to see that shit. You know, so it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. You know what I mean?
If Pacquiao wins, what does that do for him? Where does that put him all time?
Hell, come on, at that age, after like a few years, I don't know how many years he's been out. You know, that'd be impressive. It's hard to think it's gonna happen, but that shit would be nice, man. It would be nice. Very few have done it, and he's actually one that could do it.
Manny's 46. It's hard to know what he still has left. That makes it a 50-50 fight. Translation? Crawford respects Pacquiao, but at this age, nothing is guaranteed. One thing he is sure of, he won't be fighting at 46 himself. Sugar Ray Leonard takes a different view, one that speaks to the heart, not the body. Leonard believes it's passion, not years, that determines greatness. And if Pacquiao still has that fire, he deserves this chance that I'm rooting for him. But I don't want to see him get hurt. It's not about legacy. It's about health. Arum knows the dangers, especially for a fighter who's been inactive for years. George Foreman won the heavyweight title at 45. Bernard Hopkins
left, ready to go again, working with Freddie Roach. I feel like I'm back in 2010, the Wayback Machine. Pacquiao looked pretty good in some of the videos that I saw, like he wasn't in horrible shape, but he is 46 years old, going up against a guy that is more than a decade younger than him in Mario Barrios. Bob Arum, in the same interview, he said that he was worried about Manny Pacquiao. This is a guy that promoted Pacquiao for most of his professional career, not promoting this fight against Barrios, but he said he is concerned for Pacquiao going into this fight. Do you have concerns about Pacquiao going in?
No, I don't have concerns. And look, I can post a video and look good for 10 seconds right now. Just like when Mike Tyson looked like a killer when he was promoting the Jake Paul fight. You writers and you guys with the non-boxing, I need to get those videos out of your head, because they're just clips. Anyone could look good for that long. I can train you to look good for 10 seconds. It'll be pretty hard, but I can train you to look good for 10 seconds on video. So don't worry about that. I look, Bob Arum knows what he's talking about, because it's the legs that's going to get to Pacquiao, not the power, not the explosive speed in front of a heavy bag. But whenever you're in front of an opponent and he's going to be moving around, it's the legs that are going to fail you. They're going to betray you. The power's not going to betray you. That lasts until the very end. His punch resistance, that's not going to betray him, because that never goes. Speed, and it's because you rely on your legs. That's the thing that goes at age. So at 46 years old, Manny Pacquiao's not going to have zero legs.
Bernard Hopkins fought into his late 40s. And Roy Jones Jr. believes Pacquiao belongs in that rare club. If anyone can do it, it's Manny. He's come back from worse. Barrios is no walkover, but he's the least dangerous of the champions at welterweight. It's a smart matchup for Manny, if he still got it. Well, his last fight was underwhelming, a draw, and he didn't look like a dominant champion. That may have made him the right kind of dangerous.
You got your boy Barrios fighting Pacquiao, man.
Yeah.
You know, a legend. What do you think Barrios needs to do in that fight against Pacquiao, man?
I feel like he has to keep Pacquiao on the outside. He has a height and reach advantage, so I feel like he just go out there and do what he's always done.
What's your prediction for that fight?
Mario Barrios victory.
Do you think it goes all 12 rounds?
I think he has what it takes to stop Pacquiao.
You surprised Pacquiao's coming out of retirement at 46?
I'm very surprised. I don't think anybody expected that. So
The right kind of dangerous for Pacquiao's return. Young enough to be risky, but not unbeatable. Oscar de la Hoya, another legend, is less concerned about the opponent and more about Pacquiao's training approach at 46. You have to rest. Overtraining can do more harm than good. His power is probably still there. But that speed, that's what I worry about. And that speed, the very thing that defined Pacquiao, is exactly what you don't have the same legs at 46.
Not naturally as big a man as those other welterweights. So start there. That's a fair point. He moved up in weight, Barrios. So he's not a naturally big, natural welterweight. And of course, we understand Pacquiao has moved up. My God, I don't even know when he first When he first turned pro, you would have thought maybe he could have been a jockey.
Yeah,
I mean, he was
108 pounds, right?
Yeah, jockeys are about 105 pounds, I think, somewhere around that neighborhood. I mean, can you imagine him though going to the whip? He might have killed the horse. That's the only thing. Yeah, you would have had Petter. What is it called? Peter, whatever. Peter. You would have had Peter coming after you. You know, look what he did to this horse. You know, but look, I love Pacquiao. One of my favorite people. One of my favorite fighters in the whole world. He's moved up from like whatever. Incredible weight. People forget about that. That's why I brought it up. How many weight classes this man has really moved up. Incredible. Just incredible. But now, yeah, Barrios wouldn't be as big as those other guys, but he's still a guy that's confident. He's a guy that's a world champion. He's a guy who throws a lot of punches. He's a guy who's younger, who's active, you know, who I know you can't go by this guy beat this guy, but he could beat that guy, but he could beat this guy. But you can't go by that in my business, in this business, because styles make fights. But you're right. He beat Ugas. You could say Ugas was a little older than when he fought him a little bit, than when Pacquiao fought him, and maybe that made a difference, whatever. But he did take a lot of punishment, Pacquiao, in the Ugas fight.
At 46. That's just reality. He's not the same Manny we remembered. He even called Pacquiao's last exhibition fight embarrassing. Harsh words, but coming from someone who's been in the game for decades, they carry weight. This fight feels like a money grab. A few years ago, Pacquiao destroys Barrios. But now, Barrios might win this just off youth and activity. He sees this more as a
podcast or his network, his YouTube show.
1 second. Do you have? So you got Manny winning?
Yes.
You got Manny winning?
No, against Barrios.
Yeah.
No, I think look, every great fighter got one great fight left in him. That had to be Thurman and Manny. I think Manny seems to want to. Manny appears to be like how Bernard and Roy were. Like he's really one of those great old school fighters where you gotta he's gotta go out on his shield.
Yeah.
Going out on your shield used to not mean just in any given fight. It used to mean that's how they went out, period, fighters. And Manny's like that.
I do not want to see. It's really hard to see Manny Pacquiao losing to Mario Barrios because of who they are. But who they are now, you know?
Sean, I do not want to see like Manny on the knee, mouthpiece out. That's going to hurt me.
Kevin McBride, Mike Tyson.
That's going to hurt me.
He sees this more as a name-building opportunity for Barrios and a real comeback fight for Manny. But Teddy Atlas, known for his deep analysis, points out something important. Barrios isn't natural welterweight. That might help Manny. He's not as big as the guys Pacquiao struggled with before. He's saying the style of this fight might suit Manny better than people expect. This isn't just about history.
About Manny Pacquiao.
No, I love Manny and I'm glad Manny going in too. I'm not saying that Manny is not capable. Manny is one of the dudes that I think definitely deserves to be in. Manny always has been and always will be one of my favorites because of the way he fights. I mean, a guy to come back after being knocked out in 2 of his first 3 fights, then come back and do all the things that Manny did. That story is also just as awesome as Vinny Pazienza's story. You feel me? I mean, come on. Most guys can't bounce back from a knockout period. He got knocked out early in his career twice. And came back and did all this?
Well, you know what? Being that we're talking about these old fights, Roy, can you think you can rate your favorite 5 fights of your career of all time?
Of my career?
Yeah.
Yes.
It would probably be James Toney, John Ruiz, Montel Griffin 2, Richard Hall, and probably Jeff Lacey.
Just about history. This comeback feels real. Pacquiao's not doing this for headlines. He's training like he's serious. So, is this the return of a legend or the final page of storied career? Legends don't always fade. Sometimes they rise again,